Something just went down in Cleveland that has the entire NFL talking. And if you're a Browns fan, you might want to sit down for this one. The Browns have just been caught red-handed, and what quarterback coach Bill Musgrave accidentally revealed about Shedeur Sanders has the entire organization in panic mode behind closed doors. This isn't just a rumor. This isn't just a hot take. This is a full-blown internal crisis that could change the future of the franchise. Let's start with what happened. In what was supposed to be a routine media availability, Musgrave dropped a line that sent shockwaves through the building. When asked about his quarterbacks, he casually admitted that Shedeur Sanders, the most hyped NFL-ready rookie prospect we've seen in years, has been running scout team reps. Now, if you're not familiar with NFL practice lingo, let me translate. That means instead of preparing with the Browns' offense, Shedeur has been pretending to be other quarterbacks, running plays that mimic the opposing team's offense just so the defense can practice. That might sound like a small detail, but trust me, this is massive. The Browns have spent months telling fans and the media that all of their quarterbacks were getting equal opportunities, that this was a real competition, that every young arm was going to get developed the right way. And now, we find out that their most talented young quarterback isn't even working in his own system, isn't even building chemistry with his own receivers, isn't even preparing to run the Browns' actual offense. He's basically being used as a crash test, dummy so Myles Garrett and the defense can get ready for game day. And here, where it gets even crazier, ownership is reportedly furious. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't the vision when they brought Shedeur to Cleveland. The understanding inside the building was that he was going to get real developmental reps, that he was going to be groomed as the future face of the franchise. Instead, Musgrave's slip has exposed that there's a massive disconnect between the front office, the coaching staff, and the people upstairs who write the checks. Think about what that means for the locker room. Think about what that means for the fan base. They were sold on a new era. They were sold on a future built around a quarterback with superstar potential. And now it looks like he's being buried on the depth chart and treated like an afterthought. This is no longer just about football. This is about trust. This is about transparency. This is about whether the Cleveland Browns are once again sabotaging their own future because they can't get everyone on the same page. If the hook was the spark, this is where the fire really starts to spread. The no reps scandal is bigger than just one slip of the tongue. It's about trust, about transparency, and about whether the Browns have been feeding their fans a completely false narrative. Here, what we've been told for months. All of our quarterbacks are getting opportunities. Everyone is getting reps. We believe in competition. Those were the exact words repeated in press conferences and interviews. Fans were led to believe that this was an even playing field, that Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, and the rest of the QB room were all being given a fair shot to compete, grow, and prove who should lead the franchise moving forward. But now, thanks to Musgrave's admission, that entire storyline is starting to crumble. He said Shedeur was running scout team reps, not occasionally, not as part of a carefully crafted plan, just flat-out running scout team plays like it was business as usual. That means that while fans were picturing Shedeur running the Browns' offense, working on timing with the starting receivers, and developing chemistry with his offensive line, he was actually mimicking Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson so the defense could prepare. That's not a competition. That's not development. That's busy work. And the deeper you dig, the more disturbing this gets. Multiple sources have suggested that not all quarterbacks are truly getting equal work. The all quarterbacks get reps line sounds great in theory, but insiders are whispering that Shedeur specifically has been getting the short end of the stick. Some say he's getting fewer reps than other young quarterbacks. Others claim the reps he does get aren't even meaningful. They're designed for the defense, not for his growth. Fans are starting to connect the dots. How can you fairly evaluate a player you're not actually letting play your offense? How can you call something a quarterback competition if one of your quarterbacks isn't even in the race? And here's the kicker. The Browns have a history of doing this. Cleveland has been through more quarterback controversies than any other franchise in the last 20 years. They've mishandled development before, rushed players onto the field before, and buried promising talent before. That's why this revelation feels like a betrayal. Browns fans have been told over and over that this time it's different, that this time they have a plan. Musgrave's words make it sound like it's the same old story in Cleveland. Confusion, dysfunction, and mixed messages from the top down. This is why the no reps scandal matters. It's not just about practice reps. It's about whether this franchise can finally get out of its own way. Because if they waste Shedeur Sanders' rookie season playing games with his development, they risk repeating history and turning yet another potential franchise quarterback into a cautionary tale. So now that we know Shedeur Sanders has been relegated to scout team duty, let's really break down why this is such a big deal, because on paper, scout team might not sound that bad to a casual fan. But in the NFL, being on the scout team is basically the football equivalent of being told, "You're not in the plans right now." The scout team's job is simple: replicate the opposing team's offense so the defense can practice. That means if the Browns are about to play the Bengals, Shedeur is told, "Hey, today you're Joe Burrow. Copy his dropbacks, copy his timing, copy his release." If they're playing Baltimore, he's asked to pretend he's Lamar Jackson, even if that means abandoning his own style of play just to give the defense the right look. Here's the problem. That does absolutely nothing to prepare Shedeur to run Cleveland's offense. He's not practicing Kevin Stefanski's playbook. He's not developing chemistry with the guys who will eventually be catching passes from him, and he's not getting comfortable with the reads and protections he'll need to know on Sundays. He's basically acting. And think about who we're talking about here. Shedeur Sanders isn't some undrafted rookie project. He's one of the most NFL-ready quarterbacks we've seen in years, a guy who's been groomed for this moment since high school, a player with elite pedigree and pro-level football IQ. You don't bring in a quarterback like that just to have him cosplay as the other team's QB. Musgrave tried to spin this like it's all part of some grand developmental master plan, but fans aren't buying it. Saying that scout team reps are good experience sounds nice, but it completely ignores the fact that this is time Shedeur could be spending with the second team offense actually running the Browns' plays. Worse yet, the language Musgrave used felt dismissive, like these quarterbacks should be grateful just to be on the field. He said, "Neither of these guys have ever not been the guy," as if that's somehow a weakness. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what makes them special. These players have been starters their entire lives because they're elite competitors. And now, Cleveland is treating that like a problem instead of an asset. This is why fans are so heated. This isn't just about practice reps. This is about respect. This is about whether the Browns actually believe in Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback of their future, or whether they're just keeping him around as an insurance policy. Because if you believe in him, you get him meaningful reps. You let him run your offense. You prepare him to take over when the time comes. If you think this is just about practice reps, think again. What's happening in Cleveland right now is bigger than one rookie quarterback. This is a full-on power struggle inside the building, and Shedeur Sanders' development is just the battleground where it's playing out. Here, what we're hearing, ownership is furious. They did not sign off on this plan to bury Shedeur on the scout team. When they drafted him, the vision was clear. He was supposed to be developed as the future of the franchise. That means real reps, real playbook work, real investment. But somewhere between the owner's suite and the practice field, that plan got hijacked. The front office and coaching staff seemed to be pulling in different directions. GM Andrew Barry reportedly wanted to take a quarterback in the draft to build for the future, a hedge for a franchise that has been through quarterback purgatory for decades. Ownership agreed, but not everyone in the building was on board. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, is said to have been focused on winning right now. He wanted a veteran presence, someone who could keep the offense steady without rocking the boat. So what happens when you have a head coach trying to keep his job, a GM thinking long-term, and an ownership group trying to sell hope to the fan base? You get exactly what we're seeing now, a messy, disjointed development plan where no one is truly in charge. And this is where Musgrave's comments are so telling. When a position coach feels the need to defend his development plan publicly, that usually means there's criticism coming from inside the building. People are questioning why Shedeur isn't getting more work, People are questioning whether this is the best way to handle a quarterback with his pedigree. The Browns have been here before. This organization has a reputation for dysfunction, for constant turnover at GM and head coach, for failing to create a unified vision. And every time it happens, the players pay the price. Right now, it feels like Shedeur Sanders is paying that price. There are already whispers that if things don't turn around quickly, jobs could be on the line. Fans and media are calling for Barry to be fired. Others believe Stefanski could be next if this season goes sideways. Ownership is reportedly considering making changes, not at the end of the year, but possibly during the season. That's how serious this is. This isn't just a bad look. This is the kind of internal battle that can rip a franchise apart if it's not handled fast. And while the front office and coaching staff fight for control, Shedeur's development clock is ticking. Every day of practice that goes by without him running the Browns' offense is another day wasted. Let's flip the camera for a second and look at this from Shedeur Sanders' perspective. Because behind all the headlines, press conferences, and front office drama, there's a 22-year-old quarterback trying to live out his dream, and right now, that dream probably feels like it's stuck on pause. Shedeur is no stranger to pressure. He's been under the microscope since the day he picked up a football. Growing up as the son of Dayan, prime time, Sanders meant that every throw, every decision, every game came with extra eyes and extra expectations. But instead of shying away from it, Shedeur thrived. At Jackson State, he dominated. At Colorado, he proved he could hang with Power 5 competition, putting up video game numbers against some of the best defenses in college football. He's been the guy his entire life. Now imagine going from that, from being a Heisman candidate and the face of a program, to running scout team plays for the Cleveland Browns. Imagine walking into practice knowing you're not getting meaningful reps with the guys you might actually play with on Sundays. Imagine being told, today you're Joe Burrow, tomorrow you're Lamar Jackson, but you, the quarterback you've trained to be your whole life, we'll get to that later. This is the mental battle Shedeur is fighting every single day. And here's what makes him special. He's not complaining. He's not throwing a fit. He's not running to social media to call out the team. Instead, by all accounts, he's attacking every rep like it matters. He's using this time to learn, to study, to absorb as much as he can. He's asking questions in meetings. He's breaking down film. He's showing the kind of maturity that tells you this kid isn't just talented, he's built for the NFL. People forget that development isn't just about throwing mechanics or memorizing a playbook. It's about mindset. And everything we've seen from Shedeur suggests that he has the right mindset to turn this frustrating situation into fuel. He's learning to be patient. He's learning how to deal with adversity. He's learning how to earn respect in an NFL locker room where nothing is given and everything is earned. And make no mistake, his teammates are watching. When a rookie handles a tough situation the right way, veterans notice. Leaders notice. Ownership notices. That's why I believe this story doesn't end with Shedeur being buried on the depth chart. It ends with him earning his shot and being ready when it comes. Because if there's one thing we know about Shedeur Sanders, it's that doubting him usually ends badly for the doubters. What's happening with Shedeur Sanders isn't just about one quarterback, one coach, or even one season. It's a symptom of a much bigger problem in Cleveland, a problem that's been haunting this franchise for decades. Let's be honest, the Browns have never been known for stability. Since 1999, they've gone through more quarterbacks than any other team in the NFL. Over 30 different starters have taken snaps. That's not bad luck. That's organizational dysfunction. And every time the Browns think they've found the guy, something goes wrong. Either they rush him onto the field too early, break his confidence, and ruin his development, or they bury him on the bench, waste his rookie contract years, and move on before he ever gets a fair chance. Sound familiar? That's why this Shedeur situation feels like déjà vu for Browns fans. They've seen this movie before. They've watched promising quarterbacks come through the door, from Brady Quinn to Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield, and fail to reach their potential because the team couldn't build a stable environment around them. And every time, ownership promises that things will be different next time. Every time, fans are told there's a plan. But here we are again, with another young quarterback stuck in the middle of a tug-of-war between coaches, front office, and ownership. The bigger issue is that the Browns can't seem to decide what they want to be. Are they a win-now team trying to squeeze one more playoff run out of veterans like Joe Flacco? Or are they a franchise building for the future around a young quarterback like Shedeur Sanders? Right now, it feels like they're trying to do both. And in the NFL, that usually means you end up doing neither well. And let's not forget the fan base. Browns fans are some of the most loyal, long-suffering supporters in all of sports. They've endured losing seasons, bad trades, questionable draft picks, and more heartbreak than any fan base should have to endure. They were promised that drafting Shedeur would mark a turning point, a commitment to building a future with an exciting young quarterback. Instead, what they're getting is mixed messages and a development plan that makes no sense. This is the bigger problem in Cleveland, a lack of alignment. Successful franchises, think Kansas City, Baltimore, San Francisco, all share one thing in common. Everyone in the building is on the same page. The owner, the GM, the coach, the players, they all share the same vision. The Browns don't have that right now. And until they fix it, they'll keep finding themselves in situations like this, where a player's development becomes collateral damage in a front office power struggle. The truth is, Cleveland can't afford to waste Shedeur Sanders. If they get this wrong, it won't just set him back. It could set the entire franchise back another 5 years. If you think the fans are upset, wait until you hear what's going on upstairs. Because make no mistake, ownership in Cleveland is watching this situation very closely, and from what insiders are saying, they are not happy. Jimmy and Dee Haslam are not passive owners. They have built a reputation around being hands-on, sometimes too hands-on, when things start going sideways. And right now, the word coming out of Berea is that the Haslams are angry about how this quarterback situation is being handled, angry about the lack of alignment between the front office and coaching staff, and angry that the franchise's long-term future might already be getting compromised before the season even starts. Here, what makes this dangerous for everyone involved? When ownership feels like the plan isn't working, they don't wait quietly for things to fix themselves. They act. We've seen it before. Coaches have been fired mid-season. GMs have been let go after disappointing starts. And now, some insiders believe we could be headed for another round of changes if things don't turn around quickly. The first person on the hot seat? Head coach Kevin Stefanski. Yes, he's the guy who won Coach of the Year just a few seasons ago, but in the NFL, memories are short. If this season begins to slip away and Shedeur Sanders' development continues to stall, Stefanski will take the heat. Fans already question his play calling at times, and if the perception grows that he's mishandling the future of the franchise, that seat is going to get red-hot fast. But it doesn't stop there. GM Andrew Berry isn't safe either. If ownership feels like he hasn't done enough to get the roster and quarterback situation aligned, he could be next. The Haslams have never been afraid to clean house completely, front office and coaching staff, to reset the vision of the franchise. And that's what makes this situation so volatile. It's not just about one rookie quarterback anymore. It's about the entire direction of the organization. Do they stay the course, trust Stefanski and Berry to figure it out, and hope that Shedeur eventually develops under this current staff? Or do they blow it all up, bring in a new coach, maybe even a new GM, and try to fix the culture before it's too late? Either way, the Haslams know they have a problem. And they know the clock is ticking, not just on this season, but on the patience of their fan base. If they don't act soon, they risk turning what should be a story of hope into just another chapter in the Browns' long history of missed opportunities. The fallout could come fast, and when it does, it's going to change everything for Shedeur Sanders and the future of this franchise. Here's the thing about adversity. It either breaks you or it builds you. And if there's one thing we've learned about Shedeur Sanders over the past few years, it's that he doesn't break easily. This isn't the first time Shedeur has been doubted. It's not the first time he's been told he can't do something. And every single time, he's responded the same way, by proving people wrong. Think back to his college journey. When he committed to Jackson State, critics said he was just taking the easy route, riding the coattails of his father's fame. They said he wouldn't face real competition, wouldn't put up real numbers, wouldn't get NFL scouts to take him seriously. And what did he do? He dominated. He broke records. He elevated an entire program and helped put HBCU football back on the national map. Then he transferred to Colorado and stepped onto one of the biggest stages in college football. People said he wouldn't be able to handle Power 5 defenses. They said the numbers would drop, the spotlight would be too big, and he'd get exposed. Instead, he threw for thousands of yards, put up some of the best passing performances of the season, and showed he could thrive under relentless pressure, even as his offensive line struggled to protect him. Now the same doubters are back, just wearing different jerseys. The narrative has shifted from "he can't play" to "he's not ready." But it's the same song he's been hearing his entire life. And if history is any indication, this is exactly the kind of challenge that brings out the best in Shedeur Sanders. Hear why this matters. Great quarterbacks aren't just made by talent, they're forged in moments like this. Adversity forces them to grow in ways that easy success never could. Sitting on the scout team isn't fun, but it might just be the thing that makes Shedeur even sharper, even hungrier. It forces him to focus on every detail, to learn the game at an even deeper level, to prepare like a starter even when he isn't being treated like one. And make no mistake, this kid is watching everything. He sees how the front office is handling this. He sees how the coaches are handling this. And he's using it as fuel. The next time he steps on the field, he's not just playing to prove he belongs, he's playing to prove everyone wrong. Adversity can be the best motivator in sports. And if Shedeur Sanders comes out of this storm stronger, smarter, and more prepared, he won't just be ready to lead the Browns. He'll be ready to turn the entire franchise around. All right, Browns fans, NFL fans, and Shedeur believers, now it's your turn. We've laid out everything. The no-rep scandal, the scout team controversy, the front office dysfunction, the ownership outrage, and the power struggle that's playing out behind the scenes. But here's the truth. This story isn't just about Cleveland anymore. It's about how an NFL franchise develops or fails to develop a quarterback who could be the future face of the league. And this is where you come in. I want to hear from you. Do you think the Browns are mishandling Shedeur Sanders' development, or do you think this is all part of a long-term plan that we just can't see yet? Is this incompetence or is it strategy? And most importantly, if you were running the Browns right now, what would you do? Would you fire Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski? Would you demand Shedeur get second-team or even first-team reps? Or would you stay patient and trust the process? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Don't just watch this video and move on. Let's turn the comment section into the loudest place on YouTube. Because when the fan base speaks up, people notice. The media notices. And believe me, ownership notices too. If you want to see change, it starts with making your voice heard. And if you're just as fired up about this situation as I am, make sure you smash that like button, not just to support the channel, but to make sure this video gets in front of as many Browns fans as possible. The more people who see this, the more pressure there is on Cleveland's front office to do the right thing. Subscribe if you haven't already, because this story isn't over. I promise you, this is just the beginning. We're talking about a young quarterback who could completely change the direction of this franchise, and every decision that gets made in the next few weeks is going to matter. I'll be covering every leak, every press conference, every roster move, and giving you the real story, not the PR spin you're going to get from the big networks. And hey, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single update. When the next bombshell drops, and trust me, it's coming, you're going to want to be the first to know. At the end of the day, this is bigger than just one player or one team. It's about holding NFL organizations accountable. It's about making sure talented players like Shedeur Sanders get a fair shot to succeed. So let's make some noise, keep the pressure on, and stay locked in. Because when Shedeur finally gets his shot, you're going to want to be able to say, I was there when it all started.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.